Hello there, welcome back to Talking Europe on France 24. Today our guest is the newest member of the European Commission. Mariya Gabriel, a member of the Bulgarian Prime Minister's GERB party, which translates as Citizens for European Development and Bulgaria. She's someone who knows the institutions here in Europe well, having served as an MEP since 2009. Well, just last year in 2017, Mariya Gabriel took on the Digital Economy and Society dossier, just months before her native Bulgaria took over the rotating European presidency. Mariya Gabriel, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, a lot going on in terms of Bulgaria, in terms of the digital dossier, of course, something that's moving so fast all the time. We're trying to catch up. One of your main responsibilities is something called the digital single market. Can you try and explain for those of us who aren't very technologically minded what that is?
Yeah, first this digital economy and society, and when we are talking about digital economy and society, we are talking about citizens and about future. As a European Commission, we already proposed 45 initiatives, and we have 25 of them which are legislative, but only 11 are finalized. That's why my first call at the beginning, when I arrived as European Commissioner, let's speed up the process. Now new technologies are evolving so rapidly that we don't have time. That was the wish of our head of state and government to finalize the digital single market before the end of this year, 2018. That's why it's so important to stay mobilized, to join our efforts, and to show that only by working together we can achieve results.
That's certainly the European spirit, isn't it? So you were talking about citizens being at the heart of this. I've got a figure from the European Commission that says completing a digital single market can contribute 415 billion euros per year to Europe's economy, create jobs, transform public services. Are citizens ready for this in terms of skills? There is something of a skills gap currently, isn't there?
Yeah, and we have some other numbers and figures which are really alarming. 80 million Europeans has never used the internet, and only 37% of our labor force has basic digital competencies. Oh, we all know that after 2020, 90% of jobs will require digital competencies. That's why now it's time really to redouble our efforts. On our side, as a European Commission, I would like to give you two examples. The first one, last December 2017, we launched a pilot project, Digital Opportunity Scheme. We would like to offer the possibility for 6,000 students all over Europe to make a traineeship, cross-border traineeship in the digital area. I would like really to bring to us all those talents and to unlock their potential. The other things that we formed a European coalition for basic skill and for digital skills and jobs, and only in 1 year they offer trainings, formations for 7 million citizens. We need people to make this digital transformation a real success story for Europe.
Well, of course, that would be from the European perspective, the Commission perspective. Of course, though, Europe is a collection of 28 member states, and trying to impose standards or change a culture across 28 member states, that's quite a different thing to try and do, isn't it? Levels of investment, education policy, culture in different places. The EU can't dictate what happens, can it?
No, the Commission don't impose anything, but we have this trend, this force to show by concrete examples what we can achieve more if we have an action at European level. In the field of education, we presented our digital education action plan. Now it's time really to invest not only in our young people, but to invest in our teachers. Definitely that's a way to do it. That's why I launched an information campaign. We need to strengthen our media literacy capacity, our cyber literacy capacity. On 5G, another important topic, only by working together with member states, with the industries, with all our stakeholders, we can reaffirm our leadership, and that's one of the most important points for me.
Well, it sounds very ambitious. Of course, all of this costs money. I know that you've recently asked to double the EU budget for digitisation from 35 billion to 70 billion for the 2021 budget. The budget globally for Europe is under pressure. Of course, the UK set to leave. That's going to leave a budget hole as a net contributor. Are you confident that you'll get this doubling of the budget for your area?
I stand confident on the need to invest more to reaffirm our leadership, because I think that thanks to the digital transformation, now it's time for Europe to say very clearly that we can be more efficient at European level in some fields. That's digital competencies, advanced digital competencies. You know that actually we are lacking 350,000 IT specialists, and after 2020 that will be 500,000. We need to invest on cybersecurity, because cyber attacks don't know borders. There is no member state which can really we can challenge this alone. We need to invest in high-performance computing. For me, it's not acceptable that actually we are not at top 10. We need to invest in artificial intelligence, and we need to support our European champions. I fully believe on them.
All right, well, moving away from the strictly digital aspects of this interview, I wanted to talk a bit as well. You are the representative of Bulgaria on the European Commission. It's now been a decade since Bulgaria joined the European Union. Of course, the prospect of greater prosperity, that's that you were speaking about there, of bringing everybody along to the same level, a major spur for joining for Bulgaria. Today, though, there is still a problem of poverty in Bulgaria. We've asked our correspondent in Bulgaria to go to one of the regions there that's one of the poorest in the EU to find out what the situation is like.
Vraca, a city of 65,000 in Bulgaria's northwest, it is among the country's poorest. The region's GDP is only about a third of the EU average. Today is pension day. The elderly are hurrying to the local post office. Vanya, a retired teacher with 40 years of working experience, is collecting her monthly pension, equivalent to 130 euros.
I have nothing left of my pension within 2 weeks. I count on my husband's and my son's assistance. With their help, we manage to get by somehow. We look for discounted food in the shops. I don't have to buy any medication, so I spend less. One of my co-workers has to buy 75 euros worth of medication.
As elderly people are concerned about price rises that might stem from joining the Eurozone, the financial sector and employers alike are defending the decision. The Chamber of Commerce predicts not only that there will be no price spikes, but that the Bulgarian economy will actively benefit from joining Europe's single currency.
The improvement of Bulgaria's sovereign credit rating will draw investments to the country. The Eurozone also has very strict discipline and rules, which is important for the stability of any financial system.
The Bulgarian government insists that it does meet the criteria for joining the Eurozone. It is planning on lodging an official application before its turn at holding the EU presidency wraps up in June.
So there we go. Clearly entering the European Union on its own, it's not waving a magic wand. It's not going to drastically transform a country's prosperity overnight. We all accept that. But it seems that there are a lot of Bulgarians who are hoping for more. What do you put the slow pace of change down to?
First, I think that Bulgaria is facing numerous challenges, and we need really to keep them on mind. That's a daily struggle, this struggle against poverty, against exclusion. But at the same time, please, when we are talking about the point of arrival, let's remember the point of departure. And for all those years, especially after the entrance in the European Union, Bulgaria has made a huge progress. Actually, we have a very low percentage of unemployability. We are one of the first 3 countries in Europe with a very good budgetary discipline, and the country, talking about digital, is a regional leader. We have a lot of specialists, of startups, great initiatives, and they are actually developing in a huge manner. So for me, what is important is every time to keep this balanced approach, really to face some challenges and to see what we can answer as Europeans. That's not a challenge only for one country, but at the same time to have a merit-based process and to appreciate efforts which country already has made.
So perhaps in some ways a bit of a problem of perception for Bulgaria and like you say, not thinking about where Bulgaria has come from. Interestingly though, Bulgarian authorities do acknowledge that something that does still need work is the issue of corruption, which is an issue in many areas of public life in Bulgaria. How much might one expect the spotlight of the EU presidency to have an impact on this issue?
The EU presidency is a great opportunity for the country, really, to show first that the country is staying responsible and is keeping the European approach. Please remember what is the logo of the presidency: united, we stay strong. And actually, it's a very strong message for all our citizens, for all member states. And at the same time, the country is very, very clearly positioned when we are talking about corruption, about justice system. Yes, we would like really to continue this strengthened dialogue with the European Commission, with all our partners, and that's a common struggle. That's a huge and very positive message from the country.
Well, let's come back to some challenges that affect all European countries. Cybersecurity, something you mentioned before, that's been identified as one of 3 emerging challenges at the midterm review by the Commission. Now, we know that Germany's foreign and defence ministries just recently came under cyber attack. A case that's really caused a lot of outrage and disbelief in Germany. Many people saying, look, if this can happen in wealthy, developed, up-together Germany, can it happen anywhere? How much of a threat is there?
That's a real threat, because cyber attacks don't know borders, and there is no member states which can face this challenge alone. That's why the European Commission has already delivered. In September, we proposed a legislative package, and in this package, we said it very clearly. First, we would like to strengthen the capacities of our ENISA agency, our cyber agency. On the other side, we proposed for the first time a blueprint. What does it mean? A European coordination mechanism in case of large-scale attacks. We have the example of WannaCry, and we know how it is important. It's not only about personal data, it's about critical infrastructure. Imagine what will happen if we have attack on transport or energy.
So
it's really important for member states to do from this mechanism something operational.
When you talk about infrastructure, is that about kind of specifically giving funding, European funding for infrastructure?
Yes, but that's another idea. We would like to create a network of center of competencies. We would like to invest in technologies and we would like to invest in people. And that's why we launched a call for a pilot project 1st of February, and member states now have 3 months to postulate. It's a pilot project under Horizon 2020 with an amount of 50 million euro. For us, it's important now to be active and to show that we would like really not only to unlock the potential, but to be a leader when we are talking about cybersecurity.
Some critics in Germany of that recent attack saying our authorities seem to be just completely left behind. They're not up to speed on this. Is Europe, as an entity, able to act in a unified way on this issue?
That's why we are working on. That's why we proposed all those different mechanisms, from the ENISA agency, by blueprint, or the Center of Competencies.
And are all member states taking it as seriously as you would like?
There is another obstacle, and we propose it for the first time. That's European certification framework. And I think that's the good way. Now we have a common direction. Let's do it step by step, concretely. It's not an easy issue. We all know that we touch here to some sensitive areas, the national security, and member states are keeping very jealously some of their competencies. But in our actual digital world, it's really important to have this exchange of data, to work on a common databases, and that's the way.
It's so much part of our daily lives now, isn't it? So just on a related issue, a new phenomenon that's rapidly becoming a bit of an old chestnut, really, fake news. You yourself recently said fake news is a threat to democratic values. In what way is it a threat to Europe at this point right now?
First, fake news or disinformation online is not a new phenomenon. But what is new, that the speed of spread and the dimensions. There is not only commercial aspects, the famous clickbites, but there is a political and societal aspect. Because fake news are destroying the confidence between us, in our European values, and that's a real threat. That's why we mobilized a lot of actions. You know that a high-level expert group on fake news was created. This month of March, they will deliver their report. I would like to see something new and something concrete, something feasible. That's really important. And to really identify what are the possible short-term and long-term measures. We all know, for example, that media literacy, education, it's a long-term perspective. But on short-term, we need to work on some self-regulation measures. We need to work on the responsibility of all actors. That's why, for me, it's an inclusive process.
While avoiding censorship, of course, as well, though. There are freedom of speech issues.
No, I would like to be very clear. No Ministry of Truth, no censorship. For me, the red lines are to preserve the freedom of expression and this right for access to information.
Many areas to work on. Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for. Thank you once again, Mariya Gabriel, for being our guest today.
Thank you.
And thanks very much to you for watching Talking Europe. We'll see you very soon here on France 24.
You might watch France 24 in English, but don't forget, France 24 is also broadcast in French, Arabic and Spanish.
Muy buenas tardes, bienvenidos a las noticias de France 24.
Available on cable and satellite systems and online media in France and around the world.